Hello everyone, thanks for coming back to my channel. Today's Latino, and again, I'm David Guevara, the host, and I'm here again with a topic that is very important for us. All my topics, I believe, are very important to us, but today I'm going to specifically target educational issues and how we can, as Hispanics, can overcome those issues. So today, I'm going to discuss how we as Hispanics can achieve not just educational, but no other goals that we may have in life, but primarily educational. So, and the issue is because in America, and maybe around the country, but I mean around the world, but mostly we're talking about America, the dropout rate meaning like school dropout rate in school for Hispanics still consistently stays a little higher than it should be, and obviously we cannot get it to like 0%, but I wish it would be lower than it is, and it has consistently gone down over the years as more opportunities come up. Different organizations and different foundations and different things are put in place for Hispanics to succeed, but still I feel like the dropout rate in school, not just in high school, but like maybe even middle school and then into college, it's still pretty high for Hispanics. And I like to discuss a little bit more about that, how we can better tackle that. So I'm going to talk about some resources, but first I want to discuss some personal things. Some things that we can do as individuals and as parents and as individual Hispanics to put ourselves in a better position to succeed in school. So first, I want to say that when it comes to education, it starts at the home. Definitely starts at the house, in the house, at home with the parents, the guardians, or whoever is in charge of the child, the teenager, whoever it may be. And the reason I say this is because it is proven statistically that the rate of success in school goes higher and higher if the child is is exposed to educational materials and to early reading and early academic material early on. So if the parent stays involved from early on, since the child is born and into like once it becomes a toddler and becomes it goes into first grade, second grade, and elementary school, if the parent is involved, the child has a better chance of succeed. So why do I say this? Is because the reason I say this is because parents, sometimes Hispanics, they leave that all to the teachers, and while the teacher in school gets paid to teach things to the child, we as the parents at home need to be able to reinforce everything that the teacher has been teaching in the classroom. Not only that, early we as parents expose our kids to reading, basic math concepts, letters, anything like that, the chances the child will have better chance to succeed when it goes into kindergarten, elementary, and so on and so forth. So I say this because sometimes we as parents don't do that, thinking, no, I'm just gonna start. No, let the first grade teacher do that. But we don't realize sometimes that when the child is starting to talk at early age, 1 year old, and so on and so forth, the brain is already learning. The brain is already learning since the baby comes out of the mother's womb. I mean, we don't want to recognize that, or we just don't know, but the baby is absorbing so much information and it's ready to learn at a fast pace as soon as it comes out of the womb. So we as parents, we need to start early, start exposing them to letters, numbers, different concepts. Now, obviously, for babies and for little kids, to get them ready for kindergarten and elementary school and so on and so forth, so they can be at the same level with other kids or even higher. Okay, So we as parents, we need to do that. We can't just wait. Okay, we make the mistake of just waiting for first grade to come up, and that is wrong. We are setting our kids for failure if we just wait. So, and I know parents sometimes they don't speak English well. I know I have some friends and relatives who have kids and they themselves don't speak English well, but it's okay. Anything is better than nothing. I'm telling you, it's as best as you can. Read to the kids. I used to read to my kids all the time, like when they were little. And the funny thing is that I would open up books, and sometimes I wouldn't even follow the storyline. I would just make up my own story based on the pictures and the graphics and the design of the book or whatever. I would just make up a story. No, not make up a story, but like change it up a little, make it more exciting and entertaining for the kids. So I wouldn't read everything verbatim. But at the same time, I was teaching them vocabulary and exposing the kids to books and concepts and everything else. And we were having fun, and the kids were giggling and everything else. And it's all a funny game to them, but it's little things like that make a big difference. So we have to expose our kids early on, as early as possible, to concepts or words, math, and the things that will have are the foundation for when they go to first grade and so on and so forth. The earlier, the sooner we start, the better for the child. I promise you. Okay, so we need to do that. Parents need to do that. All right. So now, what happens if the kid does not? Starts falling. If the kid starts falling behind in school, when it comes to basic things like reading and math, especially reading. If the child cannot read, I said this before. If the child cannot read good enough at a basic grade level, by the time they get to like third, fourth grade, they will struggle, because remember, those textbooks are getting bigger and more complex. By the time they get to middle school, like sixth grade and seventh grade, if the child cannot read and do basic math concepts, they will struggle mightily when they get to high school. And that's the issue. Then kids drop out. You get a higher rate of dropout because they feel like they're falling behind. They feel frustrated. There's nobody there to help them, and they're embarrassed, and they just drop out altogether. So we need to set them up for success early on. Another thing I like to point out, that we as parents, we need to encourage our kids. Okay, we must encourage our kids, because what happens is parents sometimes we just forget that whatever we do and say matters a lot to them. So we can be a great example for them of what to do or what not to do. So me, for example, have a bachelor's degree and an associate's degree. Okay, and I busted my butt to finish up those 2 degrees. And I did it not just for personal development, but I did it so my kids can also see that it can be done. I mean, working hard and raising the family, and I still was able to finish 2 degrees. So I told them, I showed them that if you put your mind to it, and you're gonna be able to succeed, but you have to have the determination and discipline to do it. But if you flip the coin to the other side, you maybe as a parent don't have a college degree, don't have a great education. It's okay, but you can be a valuable asset to them, because you can tell them, look, I didn't do it. I didn't have the means, the resources, but you do. And now you're here in America. You have to take advantage of whatever is out there for you to do it. Do not make the same mistake I made. Don't be like me. Okay. I know you may be working hard to put food on the table, which is great. And then you can tell your kids, look, you can do better than me. I want you to do better, please, and push them. Don't let them drop out. Whatever it is, do whatever it takes for them to not drop out, to not become another statistic of high school dropout, middle school dropout, or even college dropout. Make them finish. Push them, motivate them, whatever it takes, so they can keep going and going. Please, let's do that, so we can bring this statistical, this numbers of Hispanics who are not finishing up school, dropping out and getting in, and now on the streets doing some other stuff, or not finishing high school just closes the doors for a lot more opportunities, because without a high school diploma, it's hard to be able to do different things and get into other jobs and fields. So you have to make them understand that dropping out of high school is not an option, because that just shuts the door or makes things harder. Obviously, they can finish up a GED. I got it. But I mean, why go through all that when you can finish high school on time? So we need to motivate them. Whatever it is that it takes, push them, please. So now let's talk about opportunities, okay? Opportunities and resources out there for kids to finish up high school and to move on to college. There are a lot of them over the years. The organizations, foundations, have put in place, and there are different types of grants and loans and different things. Okay, that the kids can take advantage of. But at the end of the day, again, it's us as parents who need to be able to push them along and encourage them. Now, there's a great book, okay, called, I'm gonna show it to you right now. This book right here, you need to read it, okay? Okay, for the ones, if you cannot read it, it says a framework for understanding poverty. Okay, a framework for understanding poverty. And this book is great. I read it a couple times already. It has a lot of good information. And one of the things it talks about is that poverty, and not just in the Hispanic community, no, all across the board, it has there's different factors that go into that take place when it comes to poverty, and different things that essentially make somebody stay in poverty or come up in society and become some wealthy or middle class or whatever the case may be. So one of the things it talks about is how important resources are for somebody to be able to overcome poverty, okay, and how there are also myths that are out there that essentially those myths are making us think that that there's something that we can't really do anything about. So a myth that that's out there. I'm gonna read something to you right now. So here's a few myths that this book talks about. Okay, so this book talks about how poverty belongs to the minorities. Okay, so and it says poverty belongs to the minorities, and it says the fact is that 70% of all individuals in poverty in the United States are white. Now that has to do with the ratio. I understand there are more whites than blacks and Hispanics and all that, but the point is that there's poverty all across the board. Okay, so it's not just a minority issue. Okay, so now another thing that says is people in poverty are lazy, and that is not true also. And I'm one example of that. Okay, I grew up with nothing. I came from nothing, and I can tell you right now, I was not lazy, and that's why I have a little bit of stuff, and I live okay, because I was able to make myself work hard and get what I needed to do to be successful. So the fact is this: actually, people in poverty are often problem solvers and with limited resources, who may or may not have the knowledge, bases, tools, bridges, social capital, and transportation to work, to be employed. So basically what he's saying is that it's not that they're lazy, it's just that resources sometimes are not there. Okay, but they do want to work, and sometimes they just need a little bit of push from friends, family, or whatever, so they can get to work and be able to do what they need to do. And let me see what was also over here. Another great myth that this book debunks. Okay, poverty is caused almost totally by the system of exploitation. Okay, and the fact is this: in addition to systemic and exploitation, poverty is also caused by individual choices, okay, illnesses, addiction, lack of education, lack of employment, mindset, disabilities, and the way of thinking. Okay, so this is key. Okay, this is key right here. Okay, I'm not saying that that there may not be some exploitation or some sort of injustices. Yeah, okay, I got it. No, we don't live in a perfect world, and America is doing way better than it was back in the 1800s or 1930 or whatever the case may be. Okay, I understand that. America is so much better, so much better. There are so many more opportunities for Hispanics and minorities. So, but this is the key right here. It says, poverty is also caused by individual choices. Listen, individual choices. Addiction, which is essentially individual choices. Again, illnesses, okay, war, I got that. Lack of education, which is what I'm telling you right now, I'm trying to help you get educated a little. Okay, lack of employment, so that has to do with sometimes we have to move to a place where where jobs are where there are more jobs. I got that. Mindset, so mindset is all in here. On disability and way of thinking. So basically, this list is not all inclusive, but they are the main things that these researchers have come to understand. And really, what it boils down to, a lot of these things we can control ourselves. If you think about it, individual choices, the way we think, the mindset, addictions. I mean, there's a lot of things that we control, and we don't do it. We essentially shoot ourselves on the foot, and we put ourselves in a situation where sometimes we can't dig out ourselves out of. So, while poverty and things like that, is an issue, but it's not something that we as Hispanics or anybody cannot get themselves out of. It just does not have. We have different examples of people who were born in a bad situation, and they make themselves come out of there because of discipline, courage, name it, all kinds of abilities, and they use what they had at their disposal, and they left the communities, and they left the situation, and they went ahead to become somebody who just nobody saw it coming. And next thing you know, 10, 15 years later, completely different person, living in a different environment, because they made the choice to better themselves. Okay, so now this book also lists a few things that help people get out of poverty or better themselves. And resources is a lot. It has a lot to do with it. Resources. We all need resources. We cannot do things alone. I understand that. So while the mindset and the way we do our attitude has a lot to do with it, sometimes we have to go out there and ask for a little bit of help, or there's some places that can give us some little more encouragement. And I'm at the end of the video, I'm going to show you. I'm going to put in the comments, not in the comments, but in the description, some of the foundations and organizations that we as Hispanics can go to get us a little more resources, so we can better ourselves and maybe get educated and move on to college, or maybe get a trade school or something like that. But this book is telling us that some of the factors that influence poverty are financial. We got it. No, we don't have the money. We need to find out how we can get money. Emotional support is one of them. So we need friends, we need relatives, we need family, we need people around us. Okay, so we need to be surrounded by people that are there to help us and support us, not people that are there to damage us and take us off track, and people who are not there to encourage us. So if we have people around us that are really not helping our cause, we need to distance ourselves from them. Essentially, what it is, because we need emotional support. We don't need people destroying our way of thinking and undermining what we're trying to do. Spiritual is another one. We a good church and a good social group. Okay. Relationships, again, same thing. Role models is another thing that helps. And language. So we need to be able to learn, okay, and read and all that stuff. it's in as a good support system. So again, going back to the community, going back to friends and family and different things like that. So this book talks about how different resources affect the way people get out of poverty or get out of a bad situation and able to succeed. So it's not just one thing, it's a combination of things, but we need to be able to do what we need to do as Hispanics and look for those resources, those factors to help us along. Okay, so now what I want to talk about also degrees, college degrees and careers. Please, parents, educate yourselves a little, as much as you can, so you can tell your kids how to go, where to go to get resources for financial aid, for school. So there's financial aid, there are grants that kids can get, okay, to pay for school. There are foundations, and I'm going to leave in the description, foundations that give you grants, okay, money that you don't have to pay back, okay. So with grants, scholarships, and financial aid from the government, and maybe with a little bit of student loan. Let's try not to get too many student loans or too much student loan if necessary. But sometimes it's necessary, but just a little, as little as possible, because we have grants and a different type of financial aids out there and scholarships that the kids can get. Okay, there's specifically for Hispanics. There's a lot of foundations that are targeting Hispanics. We just need to go and get those. Okay, so let's find out. Let's do a Google search or talk to the college or the people in the community and find out what we can do to get extra money for the kids to go to school and better themselves. And then once the kid decides that what college he's going to or what community college he's going to, make sure that we got a career that is going to is going to be a good career, a good money making career. And the reason I say this is because a 4-year college is not for everyone. I understand that. Your son, your daughter may not want to go to college for a 4-year college to get a PhD, a master's, or whatever the case may be. But that's why we have trade schools. You know, the same money can be used to become an electrician, a mechanic, a welder, a construction, and they can, in those trade schools. There's a lot of this trade schools that once you get in there and you get you get the basic certifications, you can work your way up and start making more money than somebody who may have gone to a 4-year college. I promise you this. Okay, some of these trade schools, people come out of there making just about the same, or sometimes as the time progresses, they end up making more money. Because what happens is this: that some 4-year colleges, they offer some programs, some degrees that really they kids go get this college degree and they don't do nothing with it, because there's no money to be made or very little, or sometimes they can't find a good job with whatever they went to school to learn. So for example, your child tells you, know what, I want to learn, I want to go to school to get a degree in psychology. Okay, that's fine and everything, but you have to know that what it takes to be able to work in that field. A psychologist, to be able to practice that either at an office, at a personal office, or in a hospital somewhere, that person has to have at the very least a master's degree, if not a PhD. You know how much schooling that takes? That takes at least 7 to 8 years, okay, to get a master's degree or a PhD. For the person to get their feet into a clinic or some kind of setting and be able to do the work. So, and then the kids is like, well, they only do 4 years, and they get a basic bachelor's in psychology, and they have nothing they can't do anything with it. They end up just working some other odd job somewhere else. Okay, another one. Some kids are like, I'm gonna go for philosophy, a degree in philosophy. They get a bachelor's in philosophy. There's nothing you can do with a bachelor's in philosophy unless you, again, go get a master's or bachelor's, and maybe you can then become a teacher somewhere, like a college professor or something like that. But I mean, a bachelor's in philosophy is going to get you nothing. And there's very little or nothing you can do with it. So now now that the child, that student is stuck with a student debt or like $100,000 or more, with a degree that can't really use to do anything, and they end up working some other job somewhere making very little. We have to educate ourselves and our kids and let them know that the career path they're taking is one that is going to bring him money. So there are some college degrees that are great. Now, if you want to take some student loans or use a lot of money from grants and financial aid, go ahead, because they will make you money. So your son is able or daughter is able to become a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse. Those type of fields, they do pay a lot. So it is worth it to break your back and go get those. But there's a lot of college degrees that they don't do a whole lot, and the college do not care. They just want your money. I promise you, they don't care. They do not care. Okay. How do we save for college for our kids? There's different ways. Also, we can save. There's a 529 college fund for kids. So if you go to your bank and ask them about 529, they will tell you all about it, how that money is growing every month, every day, every month, every year, so your kids can have the money when they decide to go to college. So you as a parent need to be able to put a little bit of money aside for your kids. I do it. A lot of parents do it. 529 is one of the resources. Go to the bank, open up a 529 account, deposit as little as you can, as much as you can. Anything is better than nothing. Start with a $15, $20, $30, and I know maybe cut down on some things. Freaking stop buying too much beer, okay? Stop buying too much coffee. I mean, don't waste money on some dumb stuff. Put that money into 529 and put it for you. Save it for the college fund for your kids. They will thank you down the road, and you will be you also be happy, because you don't gotta get too many loans and stuff like that, or things like that. 529, do that. And there's other ones, but that's one of the most common ones. So with that said, I want to just let you know that yes, this is very important for our kids, our Hispanic kids, to be able to succeed. So we as parents need to be involved. Okay, you may not speak English, but there are colleges and foundations and organizations, and talk in the community with people that may know, and a lot of them speak Spanish. You don't have to be fluent in English. They'll speak Spanish and it will help you. I promise you. I promise you. Okay, so with that said, hopefully I opened up your minds as parents, so we can push our kids to do better, so the next generation comes behind us and they do better than we did. That is the hope that we have for them. So let's set them up for success. Okay, thank you very much. Have a great day. God bless you.